Finish the slide, perhaps. Yes. Have you finished with the slide, Buddha?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Hello.
Finished.
You have finished with this. Oh. I'm going to start with advantages of friction. Please start. Yes, let's start. Please start reading, Buddha.
Friction. Friction is sometimes useful. Friction is useful for many of our daily activities. Friction between the feet and ground helps us to walk on the ground. It is possible to write with a pen or pencil on a paper due to friction between the pen or pencil and the paper. It is possible to write on a blackboard due to friction between the chalk and blackboard.
Okay. So, why friction is useful for our daily activities? The first one that we can walk. We can walk on the ground. It helps us to walk on the ground, otherwise we'll fall. Also, when we write either with a pen or a pencil, that is only due to friction that we can write. Otherwise, it's not possible. Also, your teachers write on the blackboard is only due to friction between the chalk or the pen on the blackboard. You understand? Otherwise, it would not have been possible. So, it's a friction which is making all these things happen. Have you understood?
Yes,
Next, continue.
friction between the tires and the road helps automobiles to move on roads. Friction between the bricks helps in the construction of buildings.
Where else we find friction, beta? We find friction on the road, that is the vehicle, the tires of the vehicle, and the road. So there's a friction, and hence the vehicle moves, right? And hence the vehicle can move on the road due to friction. Also, the houses that are made bricks on bricks, when you lay bricks on bricks, it is helping in making of building. That is also due to friction. Yes, beta. What else it helps? Let's see.
Friction enables us to walk without slipping. It is because of the friction between the sole of the shoe and ground prevents us from slipping. While walking, we push the ground backwards and the force of friction acts in the opposite direction. In the
That is
forward direct that is in the forward direction and prevents us from slipping by making the balance.
what actually is happening. Due to friction, we can walk but not slip. Otherwise, you will fall. Simple. Because of friction, if you're wearing a shoe, shoe has a sole, isn't it? So,
Yes.
shoe has a sole. So, there's a friction between the sole of the shoe and the ground. So, there's a grip which does not allow us to slip. And you can see that the sole of your shoe, it gets worn out. Sometimes it gets very thin, and sometimes also you can get holes in the shoe. You understand? Do you get that? Holes in the shoe when it gets worn out is only due to friction. Got it? Hello, girls.
Yes, ma'am.
You understood?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What I said is okay, fine. When you're walking, you're pushing the ground backwards. And we already know that the force of friction is always in the opposite direction. So it is balancing the forward direction of your movement and the opposite direction of the friction. It balances us and does not let us fall. So we it keeps the balance. See over here. You are running or you are moving, your foot is moving onto the road. right? So the road, you're pushing forward, your foot pushing backward. Got my point? Road is forward, you're moving on the road, but your foot is pushing the road backward. Got it? Similarly, this is a shoe. You are moving forward, that is the motion, but the friction is always on the opposite direction, which is keeping the balance and you don't fall. Any problem, Beta?
No.
Girls, any problem?
No, ma'am.
Now you're walking. So you can see, walking. All of them are walking. They don't fall. This is the case, that is balanced. Friction helps us to walk. Please read.
Friction helps us to walk. Walking on slippery ground is difficult because friction on slippery ground is less, due to which we may slip.
Okay, see over here. You see this? People falling. If the ground is slippery, for example, there's water spillage. If it has been cleaned very recently and you do not know, and you try to walk down after mopping, you may fall. You can see all these activities if people are falling on the ice road or the snowy road. You can slip because the friction is almost, see, watch, it's ice over here. So you can slip because the friction is minimum or maybe zero. Okay? So slippery ground is very difficult. You cannot walk because friction is very, very less. Any problem, Beta?
No, ma'am, no problem.
Second, read.
Second, friction enables a car to move on road without skidding. It is because of the friction between the tires of car and the road which enables car to move forward without skidding.
Now you can find this friction between the tires of car and the road. Okay? So the car is moving forward. You see? The car is moving forward without slipping or without skidding. We cannot say slipping for vehicles. We can say slipping for ourselves. We slip, but the vehicles always skid. Slipping for the vehicle is called as skid. Got it? So which word we will be using? Skidding. Have you understood?
Yes.
The same reason the vehicle also don't slip or don't skid. The same reason due to friction. Now, what is this?
If there were no friction, car would stay where it was.
You understood? Did you understand? So if there were no friction, the car will not move. So there has to be friction for the movement of the or for the motion of the car. So car is moving. You see, we have so varieties of cars. I think you will love that. So car move due to friction. If there is no friction, car will not move. See, all the cars are moving. Okay. Second,
Second, friction enables a car to move on road without skidding. It becomes sometimes difficult to drive and control car on wet road. This is because of water present on road reduces friction.
fine. You can see over here accidents happening. You see this?
Yes.
It's very difficult when the car is at very high speed. See how the car is traveling. See, can you see this over here? It's moving sideways. It's not going in a straight line. Over here also, it's so difficult for the car to move on a wet road. Here, see, it is overturned. Can you see this? It slipped, it skidded, and there's an accident. This is what happens. You understand? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So whenever there's water, this thing happens. Why? Because water reduces friction. And whenever the friction is reduced, all these problems happen. Okay? So the car will skid, the vehicle will skid. Next.
Friction enables us to write and draw on paper. It is because of the friction between the tip of the pen or pencil and paper. Carbon particles from the pencil lead rubs off from it due to the friction, which appears as black marks on the paper.
Okay. So what else friction is required to write and draw on paper? We can write on paper only due to friction. You can see over here, see, it's been shown. Pencil is being used over here. How can you write? What is present in the lead? It is carbon. The lead that you have in pencil is carbon. So due to friction, the carbon particles are rubbed off and which comes on the paper as black mark. That is all carbon. So you can draw over here. You see this drawing. You can write. You can, all is due to friction. All these activities are due to friction. Yes, better. Let's start.
Number
Next.
4. Friction enables us to pick up and hold things in our hands. We, we can hold a glass tumbler in our hands because of friction between the tumbler and our hands. Similarly, we can pick up the books laying on the desk by our hands.
So whatever activities you are doing, it's all due
Due
to
to
friction.
friction.
You are holding a mug, you're drinking a glass of water, so you're holding a jar, okay? You're holding a glass, you're picking up something, you're doing something with your hand. It's all due to friction. See, you're holding this cup, you're holding the money, you're holding a glass. So all is due to friction. Yes. The next one.
Number 5. Friction enables us to light a matchstick. Friction also produces heat. We rub matchstick against the rough side of the matchbox, then friction between both of them produces heat, and this heat burns chemicals present at the head of matchstick and it lights up.
Okay. So we know that. Now we have come to know. We should not say we know that, but we have come to know that friction also produces heat. And this property is being used to light a matchstick. When you are using the rough side of the matchbox and you rub the matchstick, there is a friction between both of them which liberates heat, and this heat is burning the chemical. Which is the chemical over there at the head of the matchstick bitter?
Yes.
Yes. This is. I'm not going to tell you which is the chemical present on the matchstick. Please find out and let me know in the next session. What is the chemical which is present on the matchstick which allows it to glow, which allows it to burn? Please let me know in the next session, okay? And then we get the light. This property has been used. If there was no friction, do you think you can light the matchstick? No. So this property is used to light the matchstick. See over here. So what is here? Which chemical is over here? That is what you have to tell me at the tip of the matchstick. Now, what are the disadvantages of friction? So advantages, I hope you have understood nicely. Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Now we are going to work on disadvantages. What are the negative aspects of friction? Let's see one by one. Please read.
Number 1. Friction wears away the soles of our shoes. When we walk on the road, tiny surfaces of the shoe keep on breaking off slowly, due to which the soles of our shoe wear out slowly, due to which shoe get damaged and become unfit to wear.
Okay. Now you can see over here. This is a good one. This is worn out. See, you can see the holes. Yes.
Yes.
You can even see the condition. See this condition. You getting marks over here? No. It's all gone. Got it? This is a worn out look. What it is? Worn out. And even you get holes. This is the disadvantage of friction. Any problem?
No.
No, ma'am.
Yeah. This is what happens. See, holes. This is a new shoe and this is a worn out shoe.
Yes.
After, before. You can see this is before and this is after. Please read.
Friction is sometimes undesirable. Soles of shoe wear out due to friction. Tires of bicycle and automobiles wear out due to friction. Steps of staircases and foot over bridges in railway stations wear out due to friction. Knives and razors lose their sharp edges due
Lose,
to
lose.
friction.
What is lose?
Lose
Read it
their
again.
sharp Knives and razors lose their sharp edges due to friction.
Okay. Just now we read about the soles of shoes. So you get the holes, you get the flat shoes. It's due to friction. Even you got a bicycle, I think, and tires, automobiles, car, your scooters, even they wear out due to friction, and sometimes it becomes so thin that it gets punctured. Remember? Then we have to change the tires completely. The steps of staircases that you have in between, wherever you are using it more, you can see there's a curve. The shape of the staircases it changes. The wooden staircases I'm talking about. Obviously, stones is not possible, but wooden cases it becomes a sort of a curved feature. Have you observed if you have got staircases at your place, a wooden staircase as a place? Have
No,
you observed this? The
no,
shape
ma'am.
of the staircase changes. Okay, because so many people are going upstairs. It's been used up due to friction. The shape of the staircases changes. Even the knives. Sometimes you're using a knife so often, continuously, it loses its sharpness. The same thing happens that you can ask your papa also that when he's using the razor, after some time he has to throw it off and get a new one. Why? Because this razor starts this razor does not work functionally. It is not so operational. So when you cannot work with that anymore, so you have to throw it off and get a new one. So why it's happening that way? Because of friction. Any problem, Beta?
No.
No, ma'am.
Start to read.
Number 2. Tires of vehicles wear out gradually due to friction. Like the shoe, tiny particles of tires also break down due to friction when they run on road. The same thing also happens with the bicycles break down
You
due
can see
to
this.
friction.
Yes, it's over. The same thing also happens with the bicycle. That's over, Beta. You can see the tires over here. Yes. This much portion has become flat. You see this? Hello? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. See, otherwise they were grooves like this. It's all gone. It's become flat. Can you see this? There are no grooves. It's become flat because due to friction. So what happens? Same way like what we got in shoe. The same thing happens with the tires as well when they run on the road. Okay? It becomes flat. The grooves are gone. And usually we get this sort of thing. It becomes flat. See, we get this one. Can you see this? Lines. Now it has become flat over here. Got it? What is the effect of tires due to friction? So it's a new tire over here. You see this? This is a new tire. And this is a old tire. The grooves are gone. Okay? Any problem?
No, ma'am.
So this is before after. Now read.
Some
Now read.
machines perform less efficiently and wear out faster with friction. Friction also causes sparks, overheating, and machine breakdown. Friction reduces speed. Even airplanes cannot fly as fast as they are able because of air friction. Racing cars and other vehicles consume more energy to run fast and overcome the resistance of the roads.
Fine. Now, if you're using some machines, okay, sometimes it happens that we buy some machines and it runs and then it stops. Then we cannot use it anymore. There may be some sound or there may be not functional. Why? Because of friction. So more we use, for example, in fans also, you sometimes you get those sound whenever you're in school. Also, we used to get sound. Remember from the fans. It's all due to friction because it rubs some mechanical parts. They rub against each other, and when it gets more, it gets heated, and then it runs down and it stops functioning. So these are the disadvantages of friction. So they wear out. That means I cannot use it anymore. Also, at times, what we talked about forest fires, it causes, we already learned that friction causes heat. So when two leaves or two branches they rub together due to air or breeze or wind, sparks are caused, and that sparks can lead to fire or overheating, and it can lead to fire. And sometimes you must have come across that your mama must be saying that the motor has burnt, the motor is not working, you know, it is overworked or we are using it too much. So due to friction, it has stopped working. So there's a machine breakdown. Also, friction reduces speed because you know that the aeroplane, when it is moving in the air, there's a friction between the aeroplane and the air, right? So they will not be able to fly as fast as they can. Why? Because the friction of the air is not letting the airplane fly with that speed. So because of air friction, the speed of the airplane is controlled. Also, you can see that racing cars and other vehicles, they require more energy. Okay, so we are giving what force, the petrol or diesel, to run fast. How can they run fast? Because there are two forces applied. One force is due to the force which is inside the body of the vehicle, that is diesel or petrol, by which it is moving fast. And the other opposing force is the friction. The friction is applied by the road onto the vehicle. But we know that power is more than the friction, so it moves fast. You got my point? So the vehicles are moving very fast on the road. Any problem? Girls, any problem, beta?
No, ma'am.
All of you understood nicely?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we start.
Number 3. Friction wears out the brake pads of vehicles gradually. Brake pad is made of rubber. When the brakes of vehicles are applied, a lot of friction is produced.
Please read.
Friction wears out the brake pads gradually.
Fine. Now, in vehicles, we have got brake pads. When you apply wear, brake, there's a brake pads in the vehicle. There's a friction. But when you push the brake, obviously the brake pads get into action and there's a friction. This brake pad is actually made of rubber. When you apply brakes on any vehicle, so friction is produced. Too much of friction is produced. What happens? This brake pads gets worn out due to friction. It wears off. This is how. This is the pad before brake pad, and say this is after. Got it? This much is worn out. Say this much
Yes.
portion is worn out. You understood? Because of the usage, we are applying brakes so many times. So you have to, whenever you do servicing, you have to remove this. Okay? Understood better?
Yes.
So this is how your brake pad looks like. See, another vehicle. See,
Number 4. Friction wears out steps of staircases in buildings and foot over bridges. The friction between the soles of the shoe and wear away hard stone steps slowly. Such type of staircase are usually seen at railway station, offices, old buildings.
so you have friction between the soles of the shoes. Okay? The soles of the shoes and the staircase. So what happened? The stone steps slowly, gradually with the friction, it wears off. Where do you get this sort of staircase? You get it in railway station, you get in offices, you get in old buildings. Okay? You understand better?
Yes.
I'll show you over here. This is how it looks like. You see this? Staircases? Yes?
Yes.
Worn out, old ones. It's a bridge. You can see the center, it's a bridge. Here the steps. You can see this? It's all worn out. It doesn't look like new. The height of the stone or the height of the staircases, it reduces due to friction. I'll show you more. You can see over here better. This is how it looks like after a long time. See, now this is what I want to show you. Can you see this? There's a dent. See, can you see this better? It's not flat.
Yes.
Yes. So this is what I wanted to tell you. This is what happens when you keep on using the step, years after years. This is what happens due to friction. Here also it is becoming, but it is more over here than this one. Yes or no? Again, you can see even this. There's a curve. Can you see this curve? Yes. This is flat. So this is straight, but this is curved. You got it better? So this is due to friction. Okay? Understood? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Now this one. Read.
Ma'am, may I read?
Yeah, sure.
Friction slows down motion. Friction reduces the motion of moving parts of a machine. In
Machine.
fact, all the moving things such as cars, buses, aeroplanes, boats, ships, etc., are slowed down by friction.
What actually friction doing? It is slowing down the movement of the object, whether it is forward or backward. So friction is what it's doing. Whatever is a moving part of a machine, it is reducing the motion. For example, if you take up cars, buses, airplanes, boats, ships, they are not using the same speed as they can. Why? Because of the opposing force of friction. So friction is not letting them have the same speed as they wish, as they want, but it is getting the low speed. Why? Due to friction. You understand? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
How can we increase friction? Let's see. Start.
Increasing friction. Friction can be increased by increasing the roughness of the surface in contact. Example,
Just a moment.
Example, the soles of shoes are grooved to have a better grip on the floor. Number two, the tire of vehicles are treated to increase the grip on the road. Number three, the brake pads of vehicles are rough to stop moving vehicles when the brakes are applied. Uh,
Gymnast.
Gymnasts apply some coarse substance on their hands for a better grip.
Now, how can we increase the friction? Whenever we
Ma'am,
will
I
make the. No, let me explain better. So, how can we increase the friction? When we increase the roughness. If the surface is smooth, right, the friction is less and we fall. So as
yes,
not to fall, we will increase the friction or we will increase the roughness of the floor. What do you say?
Yes.
We will not fall. Simple. How do we do that? First one is the sole of shoes. Like how you can see the sole of shoes. It has got those grooves. Yes or no? It has got those grooves. These are called as grooves. It's not flat. It's not like this, but it is like this. So what have we done? To have a better grip on the floor, we have made soles grooved, holes, cuts on the soles we have, so that we can walk properly, we will not fall. But if we use this, we will fall. Okay. Even the tires of vehicles are treated, it's not treated, are treated. That means this is a tire of vehicles, it is treated. Even it has got grooves. Yes, these are the tires. Yes or no? So to
yes,
increase the grip on the road, so it will not skid. Okay. Next, we have already talked about the brake pads. So why brake pads are used better? So to stop moving vehicles whenever the brakes are applied. And you have seen gymnasts, those, it's a Olympic game. You must be aware of gymnastics. So what they do, they apply some
yes,
white powder on their hand. They
yes,
apply some white powder on their hand, and then they take those poles or the walls or those rods. When they want to hold the rods, they first apply that white powder so that they will not slip. The hold on the rod will be firm and there will not be any accident, because if they fall, they may even die. They may even break their bones. So as not to happen, they apply some rough substances on the hand for a better grip on those poles. Any problem?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You can see over here. See, these are the grooves on the soles. This is the grooves on the tires. Yes, beta. And see, these hands, they have got those white. Sorry, it's got this white powder on their hand. You see this? so that it can have a better grip. Okay, that's it. How do we reduce friction?
Ma'am, you are not audible.
Please do it. Now, hello.
Re-
Now better?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, read.
Yes. Hello, ma'am, you are clear. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
read better then. Read it.
Reducing friction. Friction can be reduced by okay. Friction can be reduced by using
Lubricants.
lubricants like powders or oils and grease, using rollers or wheels, using ball bearings. We we sprinkle powder on a carom board to reduce friction. Oil or grease is applied between moving parts of machines to reduce friction. Rollers are used in luggage bag to reduce friction. Wheels are used in vehicles to reduce friction. Ball bearings are used in ceiling fans, bicycles, and vehicles to reduce friction.
Good. Some of the things I think you have already understood. How to reduce friction. First, we use lubricants. What are they called lubricants, beta? Like powder, like oil, like grease. For example, you got a sewing machine, and that sewing machine is not working properly. It is very heavy. To make it work smoothly, what we apply? We apply oil. The machine oil we apply in the sewing machine, right? Secondly,
Yes.
if your doors are creaking, if the hinges are not working properly, when you open the door, it creaks, it makes a sound. When you close it, it makes a sound, and you find the heaviness of the door. Yes, sometimes it happens so at your home. So what we do, we apply some oil on the hinges. Okay? You know what are the hinges? Those metal plates between the door and the wall. Yes or no? So what happens?
Yes.
The working of the door becomes very smooth. Now we use rollers or wheels. What are the rollers? What are the rollers, beta?
Oh, that.
What are the rollers? Rollers means you know that one is
Yes.
roller skates and wheels. You know, in the baggage we are using those wheels. So when we use rollers or when we use wheels of any vehicle, we can reduce the friction using ball bearings. Now, what are ball bearings? Now, if this is a machine tool, we get these small balls, steel balls. This comes in toolkits. These are called as ball bearings. Why? Because it makes the function of the machine very smooth.